welcome to behind the scenes for my Elden Ring art direction video. Honestly, this should have been out since like August of last year, but I miscalculated how much time and mental energy doing a degree would take, so my bad. But we're here now, and if you didn't see the original video, card is up there in the top right. So before I get into this, huge thanks everybody for watching, commenting, and interacting with the video. It's like at 5k views and still climbing. I was pretty happy to see the video at 30 views. Then I refreshed one day and it was like over 1,000. So I'm really happy people enjoyed it because it took me a long time to make. So timestamps down below. You can skip to whatever part interests you. So the video you got isn't really the original concept. I was playing the Urge Free DLC in August 2024, and I was just amazed by the improvement to the presentation and level design between the base game and DLC, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna make a video about this. The original concept was just gonna be like a short 8-minute video talking about the presentation, world, and like level design of the DLC compared to the base game, because they're like a night and day difference in their approach and, you know, kind of how you as the player go about exploring and playing the base game versus the DLC. And as I started writing, I was just like, wait, I can't talk about how good the DLC is if I didn't talk about the base game for like reference. So I'll just do the first half of this video talking about the base game, you know, the art and world design, and then the second half would be about the DLC. Again, this was supposed to be a quick 8-minute video, but you ended up with like a 20-minute full in-depth video essay analysis instead. And this is because I made the same mistake I did when writing my first Elden Ring video essay. I underestimated how much my hyperfixation would take over whenever I start talking about Elden Ring. But yeah, like I said in the video, it's my third favorite game. A question I got a couple times on this and a few other videos is if I'll be covering the DLC like I did with this video, and the answer is yes. But unfortunately, I'm not sure when, because I do have to do a thesis later in the year and I don't want any distractions. And I mean that both ways. The Elden Ring DLC video, if I start working on that now, I won't really focus on school. Like, that is hands down the video I am most excited to make. That video and one for Cyberpunk. And once I start working on them, I don't want any distractions. I just want to be able to, you know, throw all of my attention and effort into working on those videos once I do eventually get to start them, and not have to worry, you know, about like assignments and projects. So yeah, it's coming out, but it'll be a while. But you know, I'll post other videos this year. I know that probably sucks to hear as a viewer. I mean, it sucks for me too, because I want to make them. But I just don't want to make the same mistake twice in a row. There is a half-written, unfinished script for Elden Ring Night Rain on my computer. It's been there since last year. I started it and I had to stop working on it so many times because of school, and eventually I just lost interest. You know, it's just ADHD problems. The Ready or Not video that I recently posted, I started working on that in June of last year, and I only released in January because, yeah, I had to stop working on it multiple times. And when the semester ended, I actually finished it in literally a few weeks. I don't really take long to edit these videos, so yeah, me shelving certain videos until I have more time to work on them is like the best chance they have of actually coming out. So this is the video timeline. This is 8 months to a year of my life right here. So this was actually the most difficult and ambitious video I've done so far. Because talking about Elden Ring alone is a pretty huge task. It's already a very complex and layered game in its lore and design. And then talking about its art direction and the visuals and how the story and world design is connected and correlated in many different ways all over the map. Added another layer of complexity because I needed to explain it in a way that it makes sense to everyone, even people who haven't played the game. I wanted them to be able to watch this video and, you know, still understand it. And then the last step was writing this from the point of view of a designer and not a gamer, which led to many rewrites of the script. All of my videos I write from the perspective of somebody who's playing games and is talking to an audience of gamers, but I kept like getting stuck on the first draft of the script. So I kind of had the idea, what if I just, you know, analyze and talk about the game like I would do with art or, you know, like a graphic design piece. And immediately that kind of just unlocked something. I wasn't restrained to using you know, familiar video game language. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but like I didn't feel like I had to dumb down the video anymore. And I was going to talk about it in a, I guess, a more intellectual way. And by doing that, I was able to just write pages and pages and pages on this like second draft of the script. But I was really concerned because I've never did this before and made a video talking as a designer. Also, I didn't know if people would find it interesting. Like I talked to my friends and family about like fonts and stuff, and they kind of just like groan and go, you know, yeah, whatever. So I was just like, I'm not sure if people would listen to my nerdy rambling about like shapes and castles mirroring their bosses and, you know, the regions, and why the sky being red makes you uncomfortable on a psychological level. And yes, I still did find a way to talk about fonts in the video. The third rewrite came about because the second draft leaned just like way too heavily on the lore side. I got a bit carried away talking about the reason for certain parts of the maps looking the way they do, and it came across more like a lore video rather than one that's like analyzing the game's like art direction as a whole. And then with the final draft, I had to tweak and re-edit the entire script and change sections because while writing from the perspective of a designer had worked and made the script better, like I said, I was talking about the game intellectually and I forgot the most important part. There's like a 90% chance the audience isn't in the art and design field, and I would need to explain my points and pretty much just spell everything out. Like, yeah, sure, I can use all these big words and terminology, but if all of that kind of like goes over the viewer's head, then like, what was the point? Because I remember I was just like throwing around terms like color psychology and association, color theory, motifs, art direction, like, you know, all these kind of terms, and I pretty much had to go back and explain what each of these terms meant. Some I explained in the video and others I kind of just put text on screen, but I was worried it would make the video longer than I wanted it to be, but I think it was worth it because it helped people understand what I was trying to explain, and that's why at the beginning I just made like an entire section dedicated to explaining the difference between graphics and art direction. Because watching gamers have discussions on Twitter about the visual design, art style, or art direction on games is a little bit infuriating because they use a lot of terms incorrectly and using some words interchangeably when they aren't. I remember one or two comments or like people messaged me saying that the video was pretty educational, which I think is kind of funny because that wasn't my intention, but hey, I guess I'm glad you learned something. And since we're on the topic of writing and the script, there's a ton of cut content. The original size of the script was about 26 pages. For reference, 4 pages is normally a 10-minute video. So this was like pushing about an hour or like over an hour. And after my first Elden Ring video essay, the same 40-minute one, I went, yeah, I'll never do another video that's this long. So it was time to like stop writing and just decide what parts of the script I'll keep. I ended up going from 26 pages down to about 12 pages for this video. So yeah, a lot of stuff unfortunately did not make it, which I was kind of sad about, but again, I'm just not going to edit a video that's going to be an hour long. The amount of content I have left, I could honestly just like repurpose and make a bunch of other videos with it. I would just need to find the time. For my videos, how I write them, I just start outlining the points that I want to talk about, and then I just kind of expand on them. Usually it's like 4 or 5 points. But for this video, it ended up being 2 pages long. I'm just like full of points that I wanted to cover. I'll block out some parts that I may turn into videos in the future. But yeah, I'll just show you what that page looked like. The one that I was saddest about was I cut out an entire chapter that was just dedicated to the architecture of the game. I went from the bottom of the map and just worked my way up to the top about how the architecture changes, yeah, throughout the map. I ended up keeping some of it, which in the main video was the part about Lindell and like all of those interior shots, and I'm talking about why the capital looks so rich and vastly different from everywhere else on the map. And then the city of Nokron, and then the crumbling Azula. So I just kept those few locations and I just took out all the rest. So yeah, just imagine an entire section of video that was just inspecting and talking about the different castles and their interiors and surrounding areas and stuff like that. That is a video that I might make in the future, we'll see. Also, in case you didn't notice, I only go into detail about the color and the environments about the bottom of the map. I talk about Limgrave, Lernia, and then I jump to Caelid, and then the video goes into the topic about the game's use of colors. The reason I don't talk about like the upper left or like the top of the map is because I pretty much felt like I did that for most of my first Elden Ring video. And I didn't want to repeat that, but I would have easily talked about the Volcano Manor for like 15 minutes because it's my favorite area of the base game. So yeah, let's talk about challenges that came with making this video. Correlating the lore to the visual design of the world and the map, and also the story. I had to make a chart of which characters are related and how and what's the story around them, and then which part of the map it could be found. And this is partly why one of the drafts of the script kind of accidentally ended up being so lore focused, because I was like deep into the lore. You could have asked me almost anything lore wise back then, and I would have been able to just answer it off the top of my head. Another challenge was the camera mod that I used for the first video, updated since I last used it, and it wasn't letting me rotate and like roll when I made paths for the camera to follow to like get all of these shots. So yeah, unlike that first video, they aren't like these really complex and dynamic shots, but they did find a way to let the camera go really far away from my character without breaking the game or unloading the map like before. So it was kind of a good trade-off that led to me doing these really long shots, which were pretty simplistic. So I figured I would have to get like really good imagery, and somehow that made the video look very cinematic, according to some people, which wasn't intentional. I didn't plan that. I was just trying to find a workaround for a tech problem. And kind of a funny thing is that I found the setting that lets me rotate the camera and like do all of these shots that I originally wanted to do when I was pretty much done getting all of the footage. Yeah, so there's a ton of unused footage. I'll just probably throw that on in the back. I had this thumbnail commissioned very early. It was the first thing that was actually done for this video, and it helped with writing. Sometimes I just put it on my second monitor, you know, while writing the script and like looking at the books for inspiration. I pretty much just screenshot the trailer of Melania and Radahn fighting, and then I asked my thumbnail artist if she could like recreate it. And I was actually very surprised by how it came out. The idea was obviously to have a character that people would instantly recognize and then click on the video. So I was between Melania and Marika, and I kind of wanted to go with, you know, Marika because, you know, she's like the center of the game. But I felt like most people would recognize and know of Melania because she's actually in the game and you fight her. So that's why I ended up going with her. But yeah, I love this image. This is still like the best commission I've gotten to date, and it's still my profile picture like a year later. So yeah, she did a pretty good job. I'll put her socials on screen and in the description if you want to check out her other art. And yeah, shout out to her. And lastly, the biggest piece of lore or fun fact, if you want to call it that, for the behind the scenes of this video is that this Elden Ring video is the reason this channel even exists. On my main channel, I was practicing video essays for a year before I did this Elden Ring video. I was like working my way up to getting good enough to make this video. This is like the big one. Well, one of 3 videos I consider the big ones, which is just making videos about my favorite games. However, on that channel, those videos, they just weren't performing well at all. And I can't really blame my audience for not watching. I was doing guides and tutorials for like Destiny and Apex for years, and then I just started popping out with these like 20+ minute in-depth video essays, which is probably not what they expected. That on top of feeling like I was being punished by the algorithm for taking way too long to upload content, even though the quality of the content was better. So I started, you know, compromising on videos and making them shorter and cutting content so I could upload faster. And then when I put them out, these videos, you know, the video essays, they still wouldn't perform very well, and it overall was pretty frustrating. So after working on this video for almost a year and then giving up on it, yeah, this video almost did not come out. I stopped working on it for like 3 months out of frustration. I finished it, but then I still didn't want to upload it because I would just be sending it out to die, basically. It wouldn't perform well, the algorithm wouldn't notify people, and then the viewers weren't going to watch it. So I kind of said, you know, fuck it, I'll just make a new channel just for my video essays where I can talk about, you know, whatever I want, and I won't focus on the views or the algorithm or anything. I'll just make videos about what I like and upload them without compromising on the quality. So then I made this channel and I put out this video and then it blew up. So yeah, that was pretty unexpected for a really small channel, but yeah, still pretty cool and I'm glad that I did it. So thanks once again for everybody for watching. But yeah, that's like behind the scenes and what went into making my Elden Ring is art video. If you made it this far, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.